certainly flies when we're having fun, and that's certainly what we did in Qatar. The 2022 World Cup is finally coming to a close with a gigantic clash between two football superpowers, Argentina and France. Both sides have certainly sealed their own massive victories to secure their spots in the final. La Albiceleste sealed a 3-0 win over Croatia, while Les Bleus ended Morocco's fairy tale run with a convincing 2-0 win of their own. The two sides last met in the 2018 World Cup's round of 16, with, at that time, France clinching a close 4-3 victory over the South American squad. Therefore, their upcoming match will be the fourth time the two sides do battle against each other in the World Cup history. For this final match, all eyes will be on two Paris Saint-Germain superstars, Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe, who play on the same French club, but will be battling against each other in this World Cup. Both are also vying for the Golden Boot title after scoring 5 goals apiece in the competition so far. So, who's going to steal the spotlight? What's the analysis, tactic, and game plan predictions for both teams? I certainly can't answer these questions, which is why we're joined today by Ruang Tactics football and tactical analyst Muhammad Yusuf Raihan, live in the studio with us today. Good morning, Mas Raihan. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
Great to have you.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the two key players that we're looking at, Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi. These are obviously, arguably, the more influential players for each of their squads. What can you say about these players going head-to-head? Obviously, statistics-wise, it's all very close.
So yeah, I think these two players are probably the best two players in the world right now. Maybe you could argue that Karim Benzema is in that level as well. But unfortunately, he missed out on an injury. He missed out on this World Cup with an injury.
Right.
So I think these two players have been the best performing players in this World Cup. Maybe you could argue as well for Antoine Griezmann of France.
Okay.
But I think that Kylian Mbappe would be the key player for France. So France would like to sit deep. They like to play on the counter. And he is the perfect counter-attacking outlet. So he is really quick, he is really fast, and he gets into good goal-scoring opportunities, as we can see from the expected goals tally. I think if we take out the penalties, he would be actually the highest in this World Cup alongside Olivier Giroud. And he has taken a lot of shots as well, with 11 of them being on target. And he's not entirely one-dimensional, so he has created a lot of chances as well with 11. So that's actually a pretty high tally in this World Cup. And he can go past his man easily, so you cannot really guard him 1v1 because he can dribble his man. He can dribble past his man. So 21 successful dribbles, that is actually the highest in this World Cup.
Right. So I'm also seeing that Kylian Mbappe in this World Cup in particular is kind of creating opportunities for others. He's becoming almost the Lionel Messi, because that's what Messi does. He likes to create chances. He likes to dribble around his defenders. Also, they come from the same club. How is that going to play into this? They obviously know each other's games quite well now because they're performing at the same place.
Yeah. So you mentioned before that Lionel Messi is really creative, and I think he is the creative hub for the Argentina team. So he is the most important player, creative-wise. So 18 chances created, that is actually the second most in this World Cup, behind Antoine Griezmann, who has created 20. And he is also really aggressive in front of the goal, so 4.7 expected goals. That is, I think, the highest in this World Cup, but penalties may have helped him. But also, he is really aggressive, as I said before, 23 shots with 14 of them being on target. And he has not entirely lost his touch, even at the grand age of 35. He still got it with 15 successful dribbles. And you can also see that in the process of the Julian Alvarez goal in the semifinal, where he turned Joško Gvardiol, the Croatia defender, inside out. He was one of the best defenders in this World Cup.
And with them.
Yeah, of course. So even at his old age right now, he still got it. And he is the most important player for Argentina.
At 35 years of age, this is likely, and he has announced that this is probably going to be his final World Cup. Also, there has been a little bit of a development. I don't know how true it is. What do you know about the possibility of Karim Benzema returning? Because Didier Deschamps was just asked about it, and all he did was smile. He didn't really say no either, because apparently he's back to full health. Would it be wise to call him up, considering that France is on a pretty good run without him?
Well, I don't think Karim Benzema will play. He is not match fit. And Giroud has been playing really well in his spot, so I don't think it's necessary for Karim Benzema to come in for him.
Okay, so both these teams have a lot of firepower. They have a lot of weapons and arsenal in their bag. Do you see this as a high-scoring one? Because both semifinal matchups kind of were very convincing. I mean, Argentina 3-0, no arguments there. But even France there, I mean, obviously Morocco is a very strong team, not underestimated anymore, but France took them apart quite easily. So are you expecting this to be a high-scoring affair?
No, I don't really think so.
Really?
Both teams are really solid defensively. They like to defend their territory well, so they would not give up spaces in between the lines, and it would be really hard to break the defensive structure defensively. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, so before we announce and I ask you your predictions, speaking of breakdown, let's break this game down a little bit more. I'll let you talk us through what we're expecting to see. So here we have is this the expected lineups that we're expecting?
So what we are seeing here is that the setups that Argentina have used in this World Cup.
Okay.
So Lionel Scaloni has used Argentina, had set them up in various formations, various setups. So generally they would like to play with a back four. So this is the two systems that they have used with the back four. So early in the World Cup, they used this 4-3-3.
Right.
So you would have Messi as the right winger with Lautaro leading the line, or you can go with Messi as the central forward and Di Maria as the right winger.
Okay, so these can be switched. All right.
Yeah, and maybe you can switch it as well. So Alvarez would come in at the center, Messi still here, and Di Maria would play on left. But most recently, in the semi-final stage, they played with this 4-4-2.
Okay.
So this 4-4-2 formation, they used 4 central midfielders. McAllister and DePaul are actually naturally a central midfielder, but they are playing as a makeshift wide midfielders in the final stage. But they can also change the entire system. They can switch to back 3 or back 5, depends on how you look at it.
Right.
And we'll take out Paredes and Lisandro Martinez would come in. So that would make it a back 5. So that is what they used in the quarterfinal game against Netherlands. So they would match up with the Netherlands front 5 with their aggressive wing backs and their front 3. So they would match up numerically.
Okay, that I can see, and obviously that was effective against the Netherlands. But why did they choose to switch to a 4-4-2 for the semifinals?
So I think the idea with the 4-4-2 is that they want to control the midfield better.
Right.
So in possession, so it would not look like this.
Okay.
So these players would tuck inside, they would come in and form more of a 4 midfield.
I see, more of a box in the middle.
Yeah, box in the middle. So we know that Croatia are really good in their midfield. So they have Brozovic, they have Modric, they have Kovacic. And maybe one way that Scaloni tried to combat that is to overload the midfield.
I see. So what are you expecting them to prepare for the finals?
I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
Because
what would you do?
I would
probably seem to be the most effective so far.
Maybe I would go with this setup.
That's more of a defensive setup.
Yeah, because you have Mbappe and Theo Hernandez who are really excellent on the left-hand side. So
you've got to really kind of lock them down.
Yeah.
All right. Very interesting to see what they start off with. So let's have a look at some of the what have you got prepared for us here.
So here we have the offensive structure of Argentina.
Okay.
They actually like to play intricately, so they would play short passes, they would build up from the back. They are excellent technically, so maybe you could see Enzo or Paredes usually playing here, so between these two center backs. And that way, so if there's 2 guys, so maybe like a 4-4-2, so if 2 guys here, then it is easier to progress the ball with three players, right?
Right.
So, and then in the final third phase, so in this example against Croatia, they tried to overload this right-hand side. So they would have all these players, Enzo, Paredes, Molina, Messi, and DePaul, shifting to the right-hand side. So let me draw something.
Yeah.
So that would mean this defensive block, they would be shifted to this left-hand side. And that would open up a space for Tagliafico, who can make these diagonal runs. So
they're basically trying to drag all the defenders out down to the right side.
Yep, yeah.
So that is the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. How effective has that been so far?
I think that has been really effective so far. Especially you have Messi Enzo, Paredes, who are really excellent distributors of the ball. They can switch the ball easily to the left-hand side. And especially in this right-hand side as well, you might not see them always switching the ball. Maybe they can play combination passes here. So you have these wide diamonds. So they have this wide rotation. So you could see Molina pushing up high. So that would push the defensive line back. And maybe Paredes would go wide here. So that would maybe open up space for Messi here. So he really likes to play in this right half space.
Right.
So this is the central spaces, this is the wide space, and this is the half space. So he really likes to play in this area. He can send in through passes like he did against Netherlands.
Yes.
And he can play switch passes, or he can dribble the ball himself past his man and maybe have a pop himself.
Okay. Yeah, now I'm starting to think back, even like if you think back to the times that he was at Barcelona, this is really kind of what his specialty is, isn't he? He doesn't mind being in a lot of traffic because he's a very good dribbler of the ball as well. So in fact, I always think of Messi as somebody who likes to, he's like a magnet. He draws all the defenders, but that just opens up the field for everybody else.
Yes, and that's the general idea here. So the left-hand side will be open.
Right, indeed. A lot of focus will be on Messi in this one. Okay, let's have a look at, get out of this, let's go into our next slide. All right, so this is now, we've talked a little bit of offense, let's talk a little bit about their defense.
So yeah, the general idea here is that they would form a 4-4-2 shape defensively. So they would try to, maybe let's draw something again. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, we get out of this first. There you go.
Whoops. So they would form this 4-4-2. Or maybe you could say it's more of a 4-4-1-1 because Messi does not really track back defensively. So the other players...
He's 35 years old. We can't blame him.
Yeah. So the other players would have to help him defensively. So I think the most crucial player here is DePaul. Because he plays on the right-hand side as well with Messi. And Messi does not really track this man. So he has to pay attention to this player and this player.
It's on double duty then.
Yeah, so yeah.
Who would be in that position, you think, for France?
For France, I think here would be probably Rabiot, the left-sided midfielder of France. And maybe we have Theo here, so maybe he can watch over these two guys.
Do you think he'll be capable of that? I mean, that's not going to be an easy task.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. That's why I suggested the formation change to the 5-3-2 so they could match up numerically.
Good point. All right. Okay. Let's have a look at what we have next. Let's get out of this.
Exit.
Yes. All right. Now we're looking at France. This is, has it been confirmed who they're going to be starting and what they're going to be starting with?
So I am pretty sure that they will play with this 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 system, depends on how you look at it. But what I'm not sure is that Rabiot and Upamecano's fitness, because they missed the semifinal. So
they did not play. That's right.
Yeah, so maybe they may be absent for the finals, but I think for the most part, this is going to be their lineup. They have not changed their system entirely in the tournament. So you have this fullback pairing, Koundé and Theo Hernandez, who are really different in their playing style, and we will discuss about that. And you have Mbappé, Giroud, and Dembele on the front line. You have Tchouaméni at the base of the midfield with Rabiot playing as a more of a box-to-box player, and Griezmann as the creative hub of this team.
Okay, me as a Messi fan, I'm really frightened looking at this front line.
Yeah.
Like some big names there. Griezmann's been playing really well as well.
Yeah, he has been playing out of his mind in this World Cup. He has played in a more deeper role in this World Cup. He started as a wide forward initially in his Real Sociedad days, being moved as a shadow striker in his Atletico, and now he is playing more of a hybrid number 8 and 10 role here.
Do you think that's why he's flourishing, because he's kind of got an adjusted role here now with France?
Yeah, I think so. He has always showed that he is really good in tight spaces. He is really creative. He can pick out a pass for his teammates, maybe for Mbappé, for Dembele. And he is really a hard worker defensively, so he would cover a lot of ground.
He's constantly moving, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay. So he is really intelligent with his movement, and I think that's why he is flourishing in this new role.
Right. All right, let's have a look at France on offense.
Yep. So what we have here is, the idea here is that France will always attack in this structure. So it's more of a 3-2-5 structure.
Oh, okay.
So you can see that. So the idea here is that...
Because they like to counter, like you mentioned, right?
Yep. And Theo, so I think the interesting part here would be the fullback pairing, as I mentioned before.
Okay.
So you have Koundé, who plays as the right back. So he would initially start here, and he would then tuck inside to form a back three.
Okay.
And Theo, who would initially start here, would then bump forward to help with Mbappe.
Okay.
So what the idea here is that it provides better defensive structure. So when you have the ball, this is called rest defense. Rest defense is the structure defensively when you have the ball. So when the opposition happens to win the ball, so maybe they win the ball here, they have these 4 players always covering the spaces behind. So they would not be...
they won't be susceptible to any counters.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the idea here.
All right. Okay.
And we have also this front 5. So Theo would play as this flying fullback, and he has really good connection with Rabiot and Mbappe. And Giroud would play centrally, and here Dembele, who has been playing really well for Barcelona in the last couple of months.
True.
He is a really good 1v1 dribbler. He is really two-footed, so he can go outside and inside. So he is quite unpredictable in his movement because of his two-footedness. So maybe he can go outside and setting crosses for Giroud, who is strong aerially.
Yes.
He can go inside and play combination passes with Antoine Griezmann, who is the most creative player, I think, in this World Cup. So most chances created with 20 and highest expected assist with 3.5. So expected assist measures the quality of the chances he is creating.
Right.
So by the numbers, he is the most creative player in
3.5 out of every 20, right? That's
Yep.
Is that how it's calculated?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So you selected this particular attacking formation because this was what this was actually the exact example used against England.
Yes.
Do you feel that that is going to be just as effective against Argentina?
Well, I think so. I don't think they will really change anything from this attacking structure. They have used this one
It's worked so
from
far.
the start of the tournament. So, and it has worked so far. So I don't think there's any reason to change their approach offensively. So I would expect them to play in this structure again in the final.
All right, five of them pushing forward. That's a scary sight indeed. Let me try to get out of this, and yes. Whoops, there we go. All right, from offense, we'll go to defense now from France.
So it's quite similar in the structure as Argentina. So they play with a 4-4-2 block. But what's different is that here, Mbappe, who starts initially here, left as a left winger, generally you would see that this left winger would drop into this space, into the Rabiot space. So this Dembele, he would start here and he would help out the midfield. So they would form a midfield four. But with Mbappe, he really does not track his marker. So he would not track back defensively. He would not play here, but he would join Giroud as the front two. So the idea here is that if he's here, then he would be closer to the goal.
Right.
So if he's going to be tracking his marker, so maybe he would be here.
All the way too far back. Right?
Yeah, of course, that's obvious. So the idea is that he is closer to the goal. So if France win the ball, so they can launch quick counterattacks. Yeah.
Right.
But I think that's where the problem lies here with France's defensive structure, because then Rabiot, this guy, would have to shift over to the left.
Right.
And that takes time. So there's this space.
A gap,
there's this gap in the left-hand side of the France defensive structure.
And oh look, that's where Messi likes to operate.
Yeah, so I think this is where the game will be won and lost.
Oh man, I'm going to be very much watching the right side of the field. Real quick here, before we get our predictions. Tell us, this is, so again, we're going back to the predicted lineup. Nothing has been confirmed as of yet, closer to game day, but this is what we're looking at.
Yes.
Okay. So it seems pretty much very similar to what we've seen so far already.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be any last minute changes as well. So let's talk predictions, because obviously that's what everybody is waiting for. I want to get your prediction. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win, and what do you think the score is going to be?
Well, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, as I mentioned before, because both teams are excellent defensively. I will say it is going to be a tight game, and it's going to be a 1-0 Argentina win.
1-0. Okay.
Because Messi, this guy, is going to be the difference maker, I think.
You think he's going to score the goal?
Maybe, I think so. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he will be the difference maker. He has been probably the best performing player in this World Cup. And yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-0 win for Argentina. And what about you?
You know what? I don't like to predict sports with my mind. I follow my heart, and my heart is with Messi. I'm a Barcelona fan. Would love for him to win the World Cup. So I'm going to say 2-1 Argentina with Alvarez and Messi 1 goal each.
Ooh, Alvarez, yeah. He has been playing.
Yeah, he's been on fire. So hopefully he'll be able to keep that up in the final. Thank you so much for joining us here and allowing us to get a deeper look at what we can expect with this great final coming up. We hope that you enjoy the World Cup finals, as we certainly will. Thanks for your time. All right, we're going to take another short break here on the program, but don't go anywhere. We've got some more recaps, plus we've got entertainment when we return as well here on the C Morning Show. We'll be right back.